for the side-by-side that a lot of people have been waiting for. We have the Neo X and the Rodzilla Raptor. So let me first start by saying this is not a which one should you buy. This is not, this one's better, this one's worse. I have shot off both of these a fair amount of time. I had one of the beta versions of the Neo X. I actually just got this one today. But I shot off one of the betas, shot the Oregon State Championship with it, shot some other matches over a 1 week period. Absolutely loved it. I've had my Raptor and shot off a beta Raptor for a month or two now, and really love it. They both just are different. And I don't say that as a cop-out. I don't say that because of any other reason other than they're just different. And you have to figure out which one fits your needs the best. Let me also start off by saying that both of these were discounted for me when I purchased them. I always try to be honest with you guys. I did beta testing for them, like I said. As a result, I was offered a discount on them. So just keep that in mind. And, it is what it is, but I'm always honest about it. So let's start off with the Neo X. Obviously, its foundation was the original Neo. I think it weighed in, I don't know, don't quote me, but it was something like 22, 23 pounds. The original T-Rex was a little bit more than that. Not much, but, they were both in the mid-20s somewhere. Fairly heavy, but stout rests, both of them. And, the need for people, obviously, to transport them easier, whether it's just in your car, truck, whatever, or flying with, has now brought about the next iterations of both of these, which are lighter and sleeker and able to fold up and have different things in terms of how they work. So I'm going to go kind of side by side of different things that they do and how each one of them accomplishes it, okay? And for those that don't know, I will also start by saying that both Seb and Rod are big supporters of the shooting sports. Both of them have been in, especially the F-Class world, for quite a while, and both do a lot to help support the industry. So, a big shout out to them just in general. So, okay, if we go with the Neo X on the left, we got Raptor on the right. Let's take a look at kind of the general accessories that either come with it or can be purchased with it. I have sort of the bee's knees of all the parts. Keep in mind that for each of these, there could be additional costs. I'm not really going to get into all of that. I'll just show you what is available that I have and kind of some of the things that can be purchased. So both of them come with what is going to be an adjustment rod, okay? And so for the Neo, you have this plastic-handled rod here, okay? And on the T-Rex, you have this L-shaped handle here. They both essentially accomplish the same thing, which is kind of a hex bit on the end, and they are inserted either here or over here to help with your elevation adjustment. I will say, having used both of them, they both work really well, just differently. So the Rodzilla, being that it's more of a lever, okay, so when you're operating it, you're operating it a little bit more like that, or, kind of leveraging against the lever on it. With the Neo, it's obviously more of a ball grip, so you're going to be, grabbing it and turning it as such. I can't say that one grossly overpowered the other in my mind as far as feeling better, feeling worse. I think they both accomplish the job that they're designed for. And I can honestly say that they work really well respective to their own units. If I use the, or try to use the Neo one in the Rodzilla, it doesn't perform as well as his does. And if I try using the Rodzilla in the Neo, same thing. So what I can say is both designers obviously understood how their system worked and created the advancement, lever, if you will, or adjustment knob in a way that supported itself. So I think that was smart, that it wasn't just kind of thrown together by either of them. They both understood how it worked, that they were designing it and made it really function well. Weight-wise, these are pretty close to the same. So there's that, okay? As far as the actual joystick design, Seb has sort of deviated from his original, I don't know if I have one sitting here. So this is the sort of ubiquitous Seb design that he's always had, which is this angled bracket, and it has this knurl on the end for the collet, and then it's had everything from golf balls to plastic to whatever on the end. But he has now gone away from that and has what is basically an angled end right here. So you can see this goes straight, and then this kicks off at just a little bit of an angle, so that when it's on here, it shoots this off at a slight angle, and allows you to get pretty good control over the unit. The Rodzilla utilizes a different system. So it uses more of a conventional angled arm on it that slides over. And because of how his joystick is designed, there's a little extra room here that allows you to adjust a little bit of length in and out. It's probably like an extra, I don't know, maybe an extra inch longer. And then his system has these different pieces that are all different lengths. So if you're running, like a Cirrus or a Z-Rail, something with a really long fore end on it, you could definitely, utilize something a little bit longer, since you're going to be a little further away from the rest. And this just allows you to kind of modularly do it. I do know this is a little bit of an accessory item that you have to purchase. The standard one, I can't remember which size is standard, to be honest, but there's sort of a standard size that comes with it. It still gives you some flexibility, but you can get the longer kit. Seb accomplishes his in a slightly different way. So his is now a threaded ball on the end, and now you can screw on different length adjustments with his. So his is threaded on. There's a short and a long you can see here, and then if you needed it, you could do a super long. Again, it's an accessory. So that is how they both accomplish their own system there. Regarding the handles themselves, let me talk about that for just a second. So Rod has a very light, very simple joystick, and it's designed that way. And I am the first one that's guilty of screwing this up, because originally I had pulled off the cap and I've thrown a golf ball on the end, unbeknownst to me, because I just never realized it. It was actually designed to be perfectly balanced when the gun's on there, and putting some kind of a weight on this end will throw off your counterbalance just a little bit. So keep in mind that the way these people design them, they're designed to be shot that way. Again, I'm really guilty of messing with stuff, and I did find out the hard way that it just shoots the Raptor and the T-Rex just shoot better when you leave it the way that Rod designed it. And to be honest, it's the same thing with Seb. They know what they're doing with these. They know how they're going to balance out. I would really recommend leaving them as such. I kind of called this, I think when I first got it, I called it the Honey Dipper. It reminds me of an old school Honey Dipper. It has good traction on it. If you're somebody who likes having a larger knob or ball on it, that is definitely going to be your thing there. I like it. I tend to prefer a ball. It's obviously one of the reasons I've tried modifying other ones to take a golf ball. But I do like a little bit of meat. That's just my personal preference. But I can perfectly drive Rod's, and the way he designs it, it's very simple and it's very fluid with his handle. So again, both work very well within the system that they are designed for. Okay, so if we get the handles out of the way, let's talk about, well, I'm not really going to talk about that, but we'll talk about how the heads are set up on these, since I've got these out. Seb utilizes either a 3-piece bag system, so this would go in, this is the standard, and it can be adjusted, so it would sit right here, and then there's a bottom bag, so you've got 2 side bags and a bottom bag. There is also a sandbag option, and then he has these Teflon pad options. Rod does his own mix. So Rod has a combo top, which utilizes his rollers or a felt pad, and you can flip it around. You can have a felt pad on one side, roller on another, depending on how your gun, rides, torque, things like that. It gives you a lot of adjustment. He also does an IBS legal sandbag, which, like I said, Seb does too. So there's an IBS legal version that you can get for this. I used to have that on my T-Rex, and I really loved it. It's a great sandbag system. So both have a lot of options for you depending on how you want to shoot. The bottom system, as it always has been with rods, is a small sandbag on pivoting, two little pivots right here, and that keeps the gun perfectly level. With Seb's new system, it is kind of a round sandbag here. Let me see if I can. So here's, you can see from the side, it's just kind of a hump, and then you can fill it with, it's got a threaded end. You can open it up and add or take out sand if you want. So again, they both accomplish the goal, just do it a little bit differently, and that is okay. I think one of the things that often gets lost, when we're doing reviews or people are looking at new products, is that, the beauty of having this kind of stuff is that we win as shooters. Like when there's only one option on the market, like back in the day, there was really only one joystick system you could get. And now that you have all these different ways of doing it, I think it really just lends itself to improving everybody. So I'm excited about it. Okay, both of them swivel on their heads. The biggest difference is that the Rodzilla is designed so you don't have to lock it down. Okay, so it uses a set of Teflon systems, and you can get lined up and you never have to tighten it down. You can adjust the tightness, obviously, so you can make it looser or tighter if you want. But that's just how that one rides. The way that the Seb works here, let me get it up just a little bit. The way the Seb works is you have a lock handle over on the right side here, and that will allow you to either have swivel, you can kind of tighten it and get it a little bit snugger so that it moves just a little bit, or you can lock it down completely. I will say it was a little unnerving. I mean, it's been a while since I shot on my first Rodzilla top. It's a little weird the first time you do it because you're so used to having a rigid top. Don't let that freak you out. It shoots great. You don't even notice that it's not locked down. In fact, when I tested the Neo X that I had, I never locked down the head because I'm so used to shooting a floating head. I actually like it, but it gives you the option. Again, you can technically lock down this one if you tighten it tight enough. So conceptually, they do it differently, but I will say this was a huge game changer when this came out with the swiveling head. It gets lining up easier. You can get on target a lot easier. You're not constantly moving your rest. It is nice to see Seb have the swivel like that, because obviously if you have like a Mini, it's a lot easier to swivel your head, but on a Neo, you really weren't able to. So there's the heads. And then the sandbag system. So there's that. Keep in mind, like I said, depending on which system you get, there's like a standard bag system that comes with it. There's other upgrades that you can get for it, obviously. Accessory feet. So these are going to be your F-class feet. This is the Seb version. They thread on. I will show you real quick. So on his, there's a little detent where the thread's been cut out on this bolt. When you thread this on, you can then cross lock it, and it stays in place really well. So that's how Seb does his F-class feet. And I'll showcase the feet in a second. As far as the Rodzilla, Rodzilla's lock in same way. Now, I will just tell you, and this is, I hate having to tell you this, this is not what the feet look like when you buy them. I had somebody turn them down. These are normally a Phoenix style foot, so it's more of a dome that they come with. But they work great. The dome works great. This was kind of a test that we were doing. I just don't happen to have the other feet that are an example of exactly what it is. But again, it's more of a dome, and I think they call them a Phoenix style feet. But they work great as well. So either way, the feet do what they're supposed to. They help anchor it down in grass and gravel, stuff like that. And you can purchase those for each system as well. So let me get this out of the way. All right, keep those from rolling off the back. So let's talk about the actual front rests themselves and how they fold up, what the feet are like, stuff like that. So I'm going to do my best here. I know it's hard because, I'm not going to zoom in on everything. But as far as how the feet work on the Neo, you've got a locking lever here, and you pull back on that as a detent. Now you can get into a 90-degree, or you can lock it in. Okay. On the Raptor, these are locking pins. You don't have to have them. It's some people like them, some people don't, but some people use them, some people don't. But it will help lock it in place if you need to. But there's no like spring-loaded detent. He utilizes a different kind of detent system, so you just pop them in and out as needed. Okay, and I have yet to find that doesn't work. You know, the locking, obviously, if you're really concerned about it, you put in these little lock pins, boom, it's absolutely golden. Otherwise, not a big deal. The front one, there's no lock pin, but there is a detent on it. Okay, so it does get held in place. Let me show you what these look like when they're fully folded. So if we fold in the legs here, okay, and we fold the front leg, and I'm going to bring this down. Okay, you can see this is what the Neo X looks like, you know, essentially in its full form. If I was traveling, I would pull the feet out, obviously, but just to give you an idea of what the folded up form looks like, there's that. On the T-Rex, you would really want to pull the feet off on the T-Rex to maximize the travel, because he made his so that it 100% folds up under the body, but you do have to have the feet out. So these are going to just collapse inward. Oh, helps take the pin out. Okay. So here you have the T-Rex fully folded. And you can see here, they fold under like that. So that is what a folded up T-Rex or Raptor looks like. Okay. If I put them side by side, and in all fairness, let me pull these feet off real quick. So, if I put them side by side, folded up, you can see the Neo X is going to be, I guess that'd be about 1.5 inches taller right here. So side by side this way, you can see that it's definitely taller on the Neo X. Width-wise, it's probably, I don't know, where's my tape measure? So front to back on the Raptor is 4 inches. Front to back on the Neo X is about 5.5, maybe just under 6. So a little bit wider on the Neo X. And height-wise, what are we looking at? About 9.5 on the Neo X and just under 7.5 on the Raptor. Weight-wise, the Raptor does come in. It's really hard to say because of configurations, but in general, the Raptor is going to be lighter by, I want to say, at least 1.5 pounds, if not more, depending on the configuration. So weight-wise, the Raptor does come in a little bit lighter, so that is something to keep in mind. Okay. How the feet work. So I'm going to do my best to do it this way so you can see it. I'll do it on this foot over here. Otherwise, I got to unfold the whole thing. And then let me open up this one. So the Neo X utilizes kind of like a bushing here, and then it's got this knob that has a taper on it. And it's going to, they just slide in, and then you just pressure fit by screwing this down. Okay? So it's just going to go in like that, and then screw down. You can loosen it up, adjust your depth, and then tighten it down. When I was playing with the beta, I asked if he could put a bevel on the underside. That way you could flip this upside down and tighten it down. If you needed to like throw it in your car real quick and you didn't want to put the spikes down, well, now you can flip them upside down real quick if you needed to for some reason. So it does give you a little flexibility there. Okay. On the Raptor, so there is a square recess on the bottom, and you can see there's these square nuts right here. And these just drop in. You can see they go up in this recess here, and then you just tighten it down, and that locks that in. Same thing, you loosen it up, and then you can lower your screw if you need to, or raise it. Easy peasy. With the Raptor, you can get different sets of feet from him. So like I've got my F-class feet, and I can just throw them in when I'm traveling. So again, really simple to swap out. So that's how each of them utilize the locking feet system. All right, I'm going to leave the feet out for a second because I want to show you. One of the things that people have asked me, and it was always a problem with the Neo, and even with the Mini I had some problems getting the head low enough. I shoot at a range in particular that has a negative slope. I don't know, it's like 3 or 4 degrees, but it's a pretty decent downhill slope, and you either have to put you know, something under your rear bag to kick it up and point downwards, or you have to make sure that your front rest will go low enough. If you look at, so this is without feet because, you know, that's, I can't control what feet you're going to put in it, but from a lowered position like this, and I am all the way down on the Raptor and I am all the way down on the Neo X, you can see that the head height to your rear, to your fore end is about 5.5 inches on the Neo X, and right about 5.5 inches on the Raptor. So really pretty darn close. You know, I'm not exact, but, you know, just kind of eyeballing it on a tape measure there. They're pretty close. This one might be 1/4 inch lower, give or take. So that gives you pretty low height. I don't feel like pulling out my Mini to give you a comparison, but I do know that this is lower than I can typically get my Mini without having to like scrape the Mariner wheel. So that is a welcome addition to being able to really get it down and get it low. On the adjustments, both of them feature, as we talked about, some sort of a remote operator knob for when you're in position. However, they both also have a knob, so if you need to, you know, maybe you're cleaning up or whatever, and you need to raise or lower it, you have the ability to do that offhand here. The Raptor is in the front right here. Okay. So very simple. Both of them also are really good about shooting without having to lock down the bridge. So traditionally, with a lot of other rests, we've had to lock down that bridge so that it doesn't fall under weight or recoil. I can tell you that having shot off both of these, I shot an entire week off the Neo X without ever actually locking down the elevation knob, and I shoot exclusively with my Raptor, never locking it. It's really tough to lock it down in general, but technically you can kind of do it. I never have to. I make my adjustment, same thing. It stays in place just fine. The only caveat, I can't speak to shooting like heavy gun bench rest. I'm going to assume that they're both still really good, but I can't tell you for sure with heavy gun because I know those things can get upwards of, you know, 60, 70 pounds if I remember right. I know that there's counterbalancing that they both offer for heavy guns. As far as the bridge holding up, I know that people have shot off the Raptor and bench rest quite a bit, so I don't think that's a problem. But I know with F-Class, I have never had an issue with either one of them having a bridge fall on me, so that's great. Internally, just a couple differences that that I do know about. I'm not an engineer or anything, but I do know that Rod really prides himself on using a lot of internal bearings. So he's got linear bearings that ride around the shaft. He's got internal linear bearings for the XY adjustment here, and so there's a lot of bearings in here. I do know that unless I'm mistaken, everything I've read with the Neo X is that it uses bushing systems. You know, I'm not going to lie, it can be tough to tell the difference sometimes. I do know that the bearings utilize a wiper system that help keep them clean and stuff like that. I don't have enough time behind the Neo X in really dirty or dusty situations to know what maintenance is like, but I can tell you, I don't care what rest you have to maintain it. There is no rest that you can just throw in the dirt all year long, year after year, and expect it to be perfect. My T-Rex, I pulled apart every so often, cleaned it out. You know, my Neos I cleaned out, my Minis I cleaned out. it's a tool. You got to take care of it. So whether it's bushings or bearings, just make sure you take care of your gear. You're putting a lot of money into these things, and they deserve to be taken care of appropriately. So, you know, these things are sports cars. You got to treat them accordingly. Both feature levels. You've got a level up here on the Raptor. Okay. Over on the NeoX, you've got some small levels on each side here, and then you have a bigger, I don't know even know if you can see it, but down in here you've got a flat level, you know, a round bubble level. Traditionally, I use a level on my gun, so you can kind of do it a couple different ways. Some people will level this, then level their gun, even if it's not completely square to the action. What I typically do is I will get my gun completely level, get my scope level, and then however off this might be, because, you know, you've got different sand and dirt and grass and stuff like that, I'm just going to level this until my gun is level. So, you know, do it how you see fit. There's really no wrong answer as long as your gun's level. So you can make both of them work in that respect. Let's talk about actual footprint. Okay, and so I am somebody who, regardless of which of these I'm shooting, is always going to shoot with it in the spread position. So fully spread. To give you an idea of the difference here, the NeoX center to center is about 16 inches. The Raptor is about 19.5 inches, so about 3.5 inches wider. Okay, and front to back, I'm not going to get this exact, but you know, we're looking approximately 14.5 inches front to back from centers to center on the NeoX, and you're looking at approximately 9.5 on the Raptor front to back. So what does that mean? Well, I can tell you stability-wise, I haven't had an issue with either one of them. I think where this could really help make a decision for people is depending on how much bench space you have, especially for a bench rest shooter or somebody that shoots off the bench a lot. You know, having a slightly narrower platform gives you a little more room to work on a bench. You know, you kind of know how you shoot, you know what kind of room you need, but it is something to take into consideration. I'll just show you kind of what you're looking at here. And you can barely, let me pull it this way, but you can barely see here in the camera, but see the difference in length there. So there is a difference. You know, for some people it'll be an advantage. For other people it'll be a disadvantage. I think, again, that's where you need to figure out how you shoot, what you want to do, and what works for you. There's going to be some people that want that extra wheelbase. Some people want the decreased wheelbase, and that's fine. That's just, you know, that's the way it goes, and that's you know, that's why we have choices. Both of them utilize a fairly similar system, you know, in terms of, you know, having some adjustment so that your forend stop is going to square up on your gun. So, you know, it squares up. You're not going to get off center or anything on your forend stop, so that's great. And the last thing that I'll say about the NeoX is that it does incorporate a carry handle system. Now, Rod does have other accessories. I don't have any of them, but he does have other accessories that will clamp on, bolt on, scope holders, and some other stuff that's pretty cool for his. I don't think there's anything currently for this, but the NeoX does come with a carry handle, and the way that works is it just threads in here. This side is cut out, so you can leave this screw in. So when you go to shoot, you just swing this out. You want to take it away, you just push this on, and then you can tighten it down, and then snap your handle and other handle, and you know, now you can carry it. I will say on the Raptor, I've never really had a problem. I usually just lower it when I'm done, and I just carry it to my car by the upright there. So both of them work fine. I've also, when this is raised up, you can just grab it underneath and, you know, put it in the car or whatever. So different ways to move it around. And you know, overall, that is. I will say they both come with some form of a carry case. So you can get a hard case for the Raptor. I know that he either has or will shortly have a soft case for the Raptor. The Neo X comes in a soft case. I'll be honest, I don't utilize either one of them because when I travel, like flying and stuff like that, I take off as much as I can. I put them in different parts of a suitcase. I don't utilize like an actual carry case for either one of them. So for me, that's not really a strong sales point. But if you want, like a made for it carry case, they both come with different versions. Biggest difference being that Rod offers a hard case, kind of like a Pelican style. I can't remember what the brand is, but it's a hard case, watertight kind of thing. Or, like I said, a soft case. The Neo X comes in a soft case. And anyway, I'm going to get these out at the range. We'll do some more videos kind of showing you just general operation at the range. But for now, there's your side-by-side, Neo X, Raptor. You get to make the decision what works for you. You guys have a good one. And as always, stay sporty like the wind.